Hello, hello, good morning. My name is Galen Bingham, the leadership strategist, and welcome to another episode of the Think and Grow Rich show, hosted by the International Mastermind Association. And I am so excited again about this topic today. We're going to be talking about specialized knowledge. And I want to kick off by just sharing a little bit about what specialized knowledge is, because Napoleon Hill says that there are two kinds of knowledge. One is general, the other is specialized. General knowledge, no matter how great a quantity or variety it may be, is of no, it's a very little use for accumulating money. It really is about how can you identify and leverage specialized knowledge, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. And we've got such a great guest. Mr. Willie Price is the executive director of A Better You Lifestyle Incorporated. He is focused on the physical, personal, and financial development of youth and their families. And I can't think of a better group of people who need to have access to this principle of specialized knowledge. And again, I could have this conversation one on one, but I've got a host of angels with me. So Dr. Peter, welcome to the show, man. Or should we change that to Grandpa Peter?
Grandpa,
Grandpa Peter?
that'll work good. That'll work good. Pop, 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 whatever the case you want to do there. Excited to listen in on this conversation about specialized knowledge, Galen. While you were mentioning that, as much as we are helping to host, I had to speak for myself. I get so much content, so much insight, so much that benefits me from talking to our guests on every single week, diving back into the chapter. This chapter, of course, specialized knowledge chapter by Napoleon Hill, which Napoleon Hill says is the missing link in all systems of education, specialized knowledge. And I wonder how, especially after this call, after this chat today, if we can figure out how we can insert specialized knowledge for our own selves. Those of you who are watching on YouTube, glad for you to be here. And of course, we have our distinguished leader with us there, Galen. Should we bring her in?
Please bring her in. Bring her in. I think you're coming in from Miami, so you're like a different part of Florida. How are you doing, Miss Ann McNeil?
Well, I always like to start with a question. And my question to all of us today, I just put it in the chat on YouTube, and that is, how do you demonstrate your specialized knowledge? Of course, if you have specialized knowledge, assuming that. But Galen, as always, I am awesome, awesome, awesome. And people say, well, why do you say that? Why do you think you're awesome? Because I said so. I am awesome, Galen, and today I am I will call it a disclosed location. Yes, on the water, another beautiful beach, JW Marriott. But I'm here with all of you on this live discussing specialized knowledge. And I am so excited to have this guest back because he is doing some phenomenal things. I won't get into his story. I'll let you do that. But I'm just excited, so we can just get this party started.
Yes, let's get this party started, and this is going to be a great conversation. And so, with that, Mr. Willie, come on in, man. As he's coming in, Willie Price is a professional speaker, a workshop trainer, and he's performed keynote presentations for several schools, colleges, and community organizations. Willie, come on in. We are so excited to have you be a part of this conversation. How you doing today?
Good morning, good morning, good morning. I am so happy to be here, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, well,
Thanks for having me.
tell us just a little bit about your background. We know that you're doing a lot of work with children and with their families, and I know you got an event coming up. Talk a little bit about how kind of what your story has been. How have you come into embracing Think and Grow Rich as a way of doing what you do?
Well, it's funny when I received the invitation to come out and be a part of the show this morning. I was excited because when I saw it was specialized knowledge, that's exactly what I focus on. I do, and well, I will start out with, I started out with a degree in mental health from the University of Buffalo. And I took that and I started working with youth in different boys' homes and different, schools and different things like that. And I created this program called From Boys to Men. But while doing that, I had started a property inspection company because I got into home inspections and started buying real estate and creating, again, specialized knowledge, and ended up where you see in my bio, it talks about me being a CAPS and universal design rehab specialist. I ended up taking that information that I used from doing home inspections, ended up working for HUD and FEMA and lead and asbestos, all these different inspections, developing, again, specialized knowledge in those areas, and got involved in what is called CAPS and Universal Design Rehab Specialist now. And I'm the only CAPS and Universal Design Rehab Specialist in the country, where by the year 2030, 73 million seniors are going to be trying to figure out how to remain in their homes and not go into a nursing home because their homes aren't set up in a manner for them to be able to stay there with grab bars and all those things. I go out and I do the inspection on those properties and write up what needs to be done and showing them what needs to be done. I work with organizations like I just came out with a grant for it that helped them get the funding for it. So I'm doing that as well as I'm doing presentations on awareness of it, because a lot of people have never heard of CAPS. They've never heard of universal design is starting to develop now, but a lot of people have never heard of CAPS, Certified Aging in Place Specialist, through the National Association of Home Builders. So I created that program where I'm now doing awareness, where I'm working with AARP, I'm working with different organizations. Again, specialized knowledge. I have the knowledge. I'm the only CAPS and universal design rehab specialist in the country. So I'm doing that while I'm doing what I'm doing now, which is what we're talking about with my From Boys to Men program. From Boys to Men started out as something I did with my fraternity. I had to do a project, and because I worked with boys and I knew through work with the boys, they had so many different needs and on things they didn't understand about hygiene, nutrition, sexual awareness, drugs and alcohol. And I created a workshop. And we joined the March of Dimes back then, and we became the largest From Boys to Men Project Alpha conference in the country. We had 250 boys every year coming out for this. It ended a while ago through the fraternity, but I decided to recreate it, and I recreated it in 2015, where I started out in one school doing those things: hygiene, nutrition, self-esteem, self-awareness. And then we go into financial literacy, teaching them how to save. And then we go introduction to real estate and introduction to the stock market as they get older. So we started out at seventh grade. Now we're down to fourth grade up to seniors in high school.
Wow. So first of all, congratulations on the success and the work that you're doing. I can't think of anything more specialized than being the only one in the country with that knowledge. And so we want to definitely get into how you've come to understand and appreciate Think and Grow Rich in particular, but how did you really zero in on your specialized knowledge? Before we do that, I just want to acknowledge everyone who's joining us in this live stream on YouTube. We got Doretha Dennis. She's always here hanging out with us at Ms. 446 Smitty. Thank you for being part of this. Obviously, Wyman is always kicking some wisdom in the chat. We got Shannon, who's here as well, Carla Hill, and Boise Buns. I'm going to mess that up. But thank you for joining us. And then Laverne Blackwood is in the studio audience. Thank you for joining in, and I'm gonna just Carla Hill. I saw you kick in there. So I'm just really gonna encourage everyone, get your questions ready, because this is gonna be an incredibly informative, educational show. Willie has got such a wide breadth of knowledge, and he's specialized to the point where he's the only one on the planet who does what he does. And that's exactly what this principle is about. I want to read one other thing, and then we'll get deep into this conversation. Napoleon Hill says that an educated person is not necessarily one who has an abundance of general or specialized knowledge. An educated person is one who has so developed the faculties of their mind that they may acquire anything that they want, or its equivalent, without violating the rights of others. So, I mean, I just love the way that Napoleon Hill frames what education is. Dr. Peter, I want to bring you in, man. What are your thoughts about this? And then, how does this fit into all the other principles of Think and Grow Rich?
Yeah. I think that's a great segue there, Galen, into this video that we have here that shows these 13 principles. But, kudos to Napoleon Hill as he dove into this specialized knowledge topic, but also allowed it to be a bridge between all the other 12 principles and the necessity of, what it takes to think before you actually grow rich. Right. And so I hope everyone is hearing that. How are you thinking differently? What shift needs to happen in your mind before you can experience success as you define it? Right. Sometimes we just dive on in because someone else tells us to do something different or do that or apply here or write this letter here or send this email or watch this video. But before we even dive into all of that, we need to really ask ourselves what needs to shift inside of our brains, inside of how we see the world. And give this video a little bit of a listen, and then allow it to allow it to help you ask yourself, what needs to change for me?
Number 1 is desire. Napoleon Hill said that everything starts with a burning desire, a compelling reason for doing what it is we do. Step 2 is faith, having belief in our ability to attain that which we desire. Step 3 is what we call autosuggestion. Autosuggestion simply means being very intentional about the things that we are pouring into our thoughts, into our brains, and into our consciousness. Our brains, our minds will receive everything automatically, but we have to work extra hard to make sure that the positive things are what we are feeding ourselves, because those positive thoughts are going to turn into positive actions. Step number 4 is specialized knowledge. No one person knows everything, even about whatever their particular area of expertise might be. And the value of the Mastermind principle is using the specialized knowledge of other people. Step number 5 is imagination, the workshop of the mind. Everything starts with our imagination and our thoughts, the burning desire to transform those thoughts into our reality. In order to do that, we have to take a look at step 6, which is organized planning. That is how we crystallize our desire into action, organizing ourselves. Having the thought and not acting on the thought isn't going to get us anywhere. We have the thought, we go through the organized planning to transform that thought into action. Step number 7 is decision. What Napoleon Hill said is the mastery of procrastination. Napoleon Hill said that the antidote to procrastination is simply to make a decision and then move on that decision. Step 8 is persistence. We have to have a sustained effort which is induced by our faith in order to achieve our goals. One of Napoleon Hill's books I love, even the title, 3 Feet from Gold. Those people who became rich during the gold rush in the wild, wild west days didn't do that because they were necessarily smarter or had better information than anyone else. It's because they stayed just a little bit longer. Sometimes people left when they were just literally 3 feet from gold. So hanging in there, being persistent, is step number 8. Step number 9, the power of the mastermind, the driving force. None of us can accomplish anything on our own. Everybody, I don't care who you are, from the most prominent person to the person who might be considered the lowest on the totem pole, Everybody has someone who helped them get to where they are. And the power of the mastermind is being able to use those influences around us, use the thoughts, use the knowledge, use the exploration of other people to help us in achieving our goal. Step number 10, the mystery of sex transmutation. This title can be a little confusing, but essentially what the mystery of sex transmutation means is that we oftentimes in our society think of sex as being purely physical. It is absolutely physical, but what Napoleon Hill teaches us is that sex also has an emotional element, and that sex is the strongest of our desires. That if we can take our sexual energy, transform that into positive, creative influences, it can propel us to new heights. And so we spend quite a bit of time talking about the mystery of step 10, which is sex transmutation. Step number 11 is the subconscious mind, which Napoleon Hill tells us is the connecting leap between our human mind and the infinite intelligence, the source of all thought, the source of all creativity. Conscious mind, we spent some time talking about how we use that through the influence of autosuggestion and what we're feeding into our mind. Step number 12, which is the brain, the broadcasting and receiving station of thought. Final step number 13, the sixth sense, the door to the temple of wisdom. This is the final step through which infinite intelligence may and will communicate voluntarily without any effort from or demands by the individual. The principle is the apex of the philosophy. It can be assimilated, understood, and applied only by first mastering the other 12 principles.
So folks, those are the 13 principles that we know so well. But now let's pivot back to specialized knowledge. And let me start out by saying this there, Galen. In this early part of this chapter, Napoleon Hill is very careful to mention that knowledge will not attract money or any other kind of success unless it is organized and intelligently directed through practical plans of action to the definitive end of accumulating said money. So now, yeah, you might have the knowledge, you might have the information, but now what are you doing with it? How are you planning, strategizing as a result of this skill set that you have? So again, Galen, I love these conversations because I get so much out of it, just as much as others do as well. And hopefully those who are listening are also. Back to you.
Absolutely. So, Willie, I want to bring you back into this conversation. Talk a little bit about your introduction, not only introduction to the book Think and Grow Rich, but I always like to ask, how did this book become more than just a book for you?
Well, I was actually introduced to the book when I joined Black NSA and got involved with Ann. I met Ann and everybody at conferences, and everybody was putting it together. I think the first Mastermind program they were doing for training. And we started reading the book, and I found that so many of the things that I was trying to do in life, it actually focused on a lot of those. I just didn't understand how to do them until I started reading that book. I ended up joining the Mastermind group, I think about 6 or 7 times. I read the book at least 8 or 9 times, but I found, again, specialized knowledge is something that I had. I just did not know how to apply it. And so once I realized what specialized knowledge was and how to apply it, that's how, you see, like you said, I do so many things. That's what developed from that. And in my programs, my From Boys to Men program, that's what I do with my young men. I find out what skills, what abilities they have. What do you enjoy doing? And when my role with them, I tell them, I said, my role is to teach you how to make money. This way, you don't have to learn, you don't have to go out in the street and do the things you see in the community being done to make money. I said, so if I can take what you do and show you 3 to 5 ways how to make money, then you won't have any reason to do that, because you'll be doing something that you already are good at and you'll make money from it. So it's going to work out for you. And so that's what specialized knowledge has done for me, because I've applied that to myself. So I don't practice anything that I don't preach. So for me, that's exactly what happened. And so like I said, I take young men. I have a young man, he might say, you know, I like to play the piano. And I said, well, can you teach someone how to play the piano? You know, that's how one way you can make money, you know, and I show them different ways how they can do that. How good are you? Do you know how to play songs? Well, maybe there's a band, or if you go to a restaurant on the weekends, they're always looking for people to play, you know, in the restaurant. So I was giving them ideas that they may have never thought about. They have this skill and this ability, but they've never knew how to apply it to be able to use it where they can make money from it, you know. And I had one kid, he played football. And I said, well, how good are you? You know, that was his skill. Well, I'm one of the best running backs. We made the national, you know, our championship team, and I got MVP. I said, well, do you think you can teach younger kids how to do what you do? And he said, yeah. I said, well, imagine you put on a workshop where you charge $25 and you get 10 kids. I said, now how much is 10 times 25? You know, he was like, he started counting. He said, 250. I said, exactly. Imagine making $250 in 1 hour, doing something you enjoy doing. And so now they start thinking about how they can apply those skills. And so for me, specialized knowledge has always been a special part for me because, like I said, it applies to so much about what I do. Like I said, I read the book all the time. I'm always going back through it. As a matter of fact, I have like 3-4 different versions of it. And I was flipping through it last night, trying to figure out which one that I wanted to bring to the show. So I brought 3 of them with me just to, you know, be a part of the show tonight. Because I said, well, no matter how we go with it, I'm going to have, you know, some information I can apply to it. But specialized knowledge is, like I said, I was excited when I heard that was going to be the topic tonight because that's right at home for me.
Wow. So if you're listening, we are talking with Willie Price, and he is talking about the topic of specialized knowledge. And not only how do you leverage that in your own life, but how do you leverage this? How do you share this with others? How do you share this with kids? And Napoleon Hill talks about how that these principles should be and usually aren't taught in schools. So Willie, just really, really excited about the work that you're doing. Ms. Ann, I want to bring you into this conversation, but if you are joining us via YouTube, please make sure you hit that thumbs up icon. So we want to let everyone know. We want to let the YouTube algorithm know that we're talking about something really, really important that everyone should be aware of. So hit that thumbs up icon underneath the video, and then if you hear something that you believe that Willie needs to know that resonated with you, hit that heart button over by the chat. But that thumbs up icon lets everyone know that they should check out this conversation because it's really, really important. Ms. Ann, what are your thoughts here?
Well, I want to go back to something you just shared, and I want to remind everybody, especially those who just joined us and is wondering who we're speaking with and what we're speaking about. I just want to remind everybody that we are on the specialized knowledge principle, and we would like to encourage all of you to put your questions in the chat, please, and comment, like, and share. And if you have not subscribed, please do so. But we are speaking today with Willie A. Price, and he is a professional speaker, workshop trainer, and he performed keynote presentations at several schools, colleges, community organizations. And we've known each other for a little while, a few years.
Yes.
And so I go back with many stories. So Willie, I would like for you to take us farther back than you started when Galen asked the question. Help us understand, what was your first introduction to your specialized knowledge and really beginning to understand how to monetize your specialized knowledge in terms of going. But I want to go back to your beginnings before the book, right? I want to go back to the beginning before this entire experience, because I think it's important for people to understand your story, right? And of course, I remember many of them, from the leg being broken to, you know, the others, but you keep coming back and you are so resilient. And I think that there are people who will only hear your voice. They're not going to hear my voice. They're not going to hear Galen's or Peter's, but they will only hear your voice. So take us back, if you will, to or whatever point in your life where you began to understand that there was something, if we will call it special about you in terms of identifying what that special knowledge or skill is for you.
She's taking me way back.
Yes, yes,
Way
yes,
back.
yes.
I
And wait, before you start that, and the reason I say that is because people see you where you are today,
yes. Yeah.
but they don't know your struggles, your trials, your tribute. And I get chills even thinking about it, because you are one of the very few people, and you alluded to it briefly, but you're one of the very few people that helped us to create the Black NSA $1 Million Mastermind as we know it. And I think we're on our 10th year or the 11th year or something like that. And like you said, you kept coming. You got what you needed. You went out and you implemented it. You came back and you said, well, let me tweak this. You came back and said, well, let me tweak this. And each time you went here and here and here. But take us all the way back, because there are people who need to hear your story before your glory.
Yes. Oh, wow. That is back. Well, as a child, as all children, we do things, and I was always a kid that, I was always trying to, I had a single mom, so I was always out trying to do things to help take care of her, help pay, whatever I could pay, get my own school clothes, get food. And I had a grandmother, and that really takes me back, because my grandmother would always say to me, you could do anything you set your mind to do. And when she would say that to me, I just would hear, but I would keep, doing what I was doing. And then one day she said it to me, and I turned, I said, well, why do you always say that to me? She said, because I sit and I watch you. And when anybody tells you not to do something, or your mother tells you not to do something, if it's something you really want to do, you will figure out a way to do it. And it stuck with me that she paid that much attention to me. So she said, well, people tell you that you can't do something, and it's something that you really want to do. You don't take that, don't take that from them. You do what you want to do. You figure out a way to do it. And so, again, like I said, I was always trying to do things to make money and so forth. And eventually later, I had a stepfather that came into my life. And same thing. He saw me out washing cars, selling fruit at a fruit stand, all these different things, trying to make money. I was 9 years old, going to school, trying to buy my own school clothes, because I wanted to help out. I wanted to be the man in the house. So when he came into the house, it became, a match, because now he's taking over as the man in the house, but I was always the man in the house. We didn't get along that well, but he always paid attention to me. And one day he made me get in the car with him. And he said, I want you to go for a ride with me. And I was like, I'm combative with him. No, I don't want to go, I don't want to go in the car with you. He made me get in the car, and he drove to the street. And I talk about later, I said, I realized we were all on the same street when he was doing this. He would pull up to this house, and he would go in, he'd come out, he was counting his money. He'd put it on the seat, go to the next house, counting the money, put it on the seat. And I said, where are you getting all this money from? He said, well, you see those houses I'm going into, I buy them at auctions, and people pay me to live in them. And this is the money they give me. And I'm like, they give you all that money? He became my best friend that day, not because of the money, but because I wanted to learn the skill that he had to be able to make that money. And he said to me, that's how we end up becoming close. He said, I'm going to teach you. But again, remember, I was always all over the place. He said, but you got to stay in school, because I was getting kicked out of school. I was all kind of problems with everything. He said, you got to stay in school. He said, I'll teach you. He said, but also, he said, I'm going to teach you, but I want you to not only graduate, but I want you to go to college. This way, whatever I teach you, if it doesn't work out, you'll have something to fall back on. He died a year before I bought my first house, but I ended up, from his skills and teaching what he taught me, ended up buying 20 houses in the city of Buffalo. And as a result of that, because one of the things he said, the more you know how to do, the more you can save. And again, I was all about making money and saving money. So I started buying the Time Life Do-It-Yourself books, went to a kid who hated school. I went to vocational school for electrical, went back to school for carpentry at another vocational school. I read the Time Life Do-It-Yourself books and learned plumbing. And when I messed up, I would hire a plumber to come and fix it. And I would watch and see what I did wrong. And one day a lady came to me, she said, I want you, me and my husband about to buy a house. Can you come and look at this house for us? And I said, what do you mean look at the house? We know you know a lot about houses. Can you come look at this house and just tell us what you think, you know? And I said, wow, there's got to be a way I can make money doing this. Found a home inspection school. Went to school to become a home inspector. Learned about home inspections. Next thing you know, I'm doing a home inspection company. Then I'm doing a property management company. Then I got called from HUD, and HUD said, well, hey, we would like for you to come and inspect properties all over the country for us for HUD. So I did that. And when I left HUD, another agency, hey, do you know about weatherization? No, I don't know about weatherization. We'll pay you to come to Rochester, New York, and we'll send you to school and teach you how to do weatherization inspections to become a BPI weatherization inspector. Left that, did that for 2 years, got back in Buffalo, and got into asbestos. Company called me, heard about the skills I had in the other fields, got into that. All these things are going good. You think, hey, great life, specialized skills. I'm applying all these things. One of the properties I had a fire. I paid some guys to come out and fix the roof. They didn't come back. And like I said, I have all these skills, of course. So I'm going to go up there and I'm going to fix the roof myself. So I had a guy supposed to meet me there. He didn't show up. Got up there. I'm aggravated, not paying attention. I fell 25 feet from the top of the roof. Shattered my left ankle, broke all the bones in my right foot. The doctors told me you should be dead, totally paralyzed, that you will never, ever walk again. Now, mind you, I was running track and field. I was doing all these different things at the time. And when he said that I would never walk again, the first thing popped into my mind was what my grandmother said to me. You can do anything that you set your mind to do. I went into that surgery, and as they were taking me in, I said, Doc, how long before I can go to track practice? And he said, we told you, you'll never walk again. You'll probably, if you do walk, you're going to have a walker or crutches for the rest of your life. I said, I don't care about walking. I need to go to track practice. I had casts on my legs up to my knees on both legs. I did the things, and I created something called the 4 W's to success from that accident. When I just want to go into it, it says, understanding who you are in a situation, where you're trying to go, which was for me to run again, what was it going to take for you to get there, and then why I wanted to commit to that goal. Those are your 4 W's. That why is the most important part of it, because the why is what's going to make you stick to that goal. The what might change sometimes, where you're trying to go might change, but the why was the implementation. Because why I wanted to do this is because I wanted to be able to run again. I didn't want somebody to have to take care of me and carry me to the bathroom, all those kind of things. So that was my why. I started doing push-ups. I used the weights on my legs to do knee lifts and curl, toe raises, all these different things. 3 months after that surgery, I walked into the doctor's office. 4 months after that, I ran my first mile. A year later, I ran the World Masters track and field, did the 400 meters, and did the long jump. That I applied all through. And like I said, I didn't know what specialized skills was. I just knew that my grandmother said that you can do anything you set your mind to. And because I knew that my grandmother said, if you want to do something, don't let people tell you what you can't do. You figure out a way to do it. And so joining NSA, joining, Black NSA, and getting involved with them, and then hearing about Napoleon Hill. Like I said, like Ann said, I had no idea who Napoleon Hill was until I joined the group. But I found that how it applied so much of what was in that book applied to my life, especially the specialized knowledge part. And I just, I went from there, and I talk to young people all the time, and I share my story about my fall. And I go into a little more detail about it. But because as I'm talking to them, they've never heard the story. So I have pictures and everything. And so as I'm talking to them, I have it turned around, and then I turn it around. They see visually the casts on my legs and the rods in my leg and the swollen, the whole thing. And so, but the thing is, I'm walking around the room, and I'm talking to them. and they're looking at me because, again, I said to them in the beginning, the doctor said I would never walk again, you know. And so allowing them to say, and then I said to them, I said, you can do anything you set your mind to do. I said, my grandmother used to say that to me. I said, but think about it. When your mother tell you not to go to the store and you really want to go to the store, you will figure out a way to get out that house and go to the store, right? And they all, of course, they all shake their heads. I said, you take that same energy when that teacher tells you that you're not good enough to be a doctor, or you're not good enough to start your own business, or you're not good enough to do whatever it is they tell you that they think that you can't do. I said, you will figure out a way to do it. I said, you take that same energy and you do that with everything you do in life. And so my program, my From Boys to Men program, we started out in 2015. We were in one school. Before the pandemic, we were in 7 different schools. And this year, we're because we've gotten so many requests to do the program, I can't be everywhere for 8 weeks. Some of my programs go 16 weeks. And I can't be everywhere. So I was contacted by a PR company who heard about my programs, and he said, hey, we want to do something to promote your program. So they were the one that came up with the idea of me doing this national tour where we're going to reach out to schools all over the country who have boys. Of course, our young men are having so many issues right now. You have everything is women issues, women topics. So the boys often say when I do our program, why they don't, do anything for us. And so that's what we're doing with them. So we're doing this national From Boys to Men conference. It's going to be a 1 day for middle school. It's going to be a half a day for middle school kids, 4th grade up to 7th, 8th grade, where we're going to go into the schools and we're going to do the first 5 principles of what we do in the program. So first part is understanding your you, understanding who you are in situations, which is what I had to do, understand who I was in that situation with the fall, who I am, and whatever I go through. Then we go into nutrition, and we do Dress for Success, which is hygiene. Hygiene is a big issue with our boys. So we provide them with hygiene kits. We go through what's your routine? When you get up in the morning, how do you, prepare? Before you go to bed, give us your routine. And public speaking is one of the things I do with my boys. Because through a friend of mine, Jawanza Kunjufu, some of you may have heard of, Jawanza Kunjufu, I've met him. We've exchanged books. We talk a lot. And one of the things he said is that by the time boys get to the 4th grade, their reading and writing skills have fallen off because as they get into the 4th grade, they're playing with guns, they're playing football, they're out in the dirt doing whatever. Girls are doing what? They're given a journal. They're reading, they're writing, they're reading to their dolls. They're constantly working on that skill. Hmm. So in my program, we do public speaking, which takes the fear and that fear of reading, because I've written 19 books. As a matter of fact, that's something I left off. I've written 19 books. And what I did was the picture you see in the background is the cover of one of my books, From Boys to Men. That's my middle school book. And what we do is everything that we do in the program is in that book. So when they're in my program, they all get a copy of that book. In the high school program, I have a high school version also, which goes into real estate, go to high school, go to college, go vocational training, introduction to the stock market. So again, taking all the specialized skills, specialized knowledge, and applying that now into books and taking those books. And I said, I don't like vending and, all those kind of things, sitting around book signings. So how can I get my books out to the community without having to do all that? Through my workshops. So whenever I do my workshops, there's a book that I give out. And so because with my Boys and Men program, we do Black history. I've written 4 Black history books, so they get a copy of my latest Black history book. They get my Boys and Men book. And then when we talk about understanding your you, they get the 4 W's to Success, which is my book that I've written on overcoming adversity.
Mr. Willie.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
I gotta come in and I gotta jump in there and get some questions.
I got carried away. You see, it says Willie Price speaks. That's what I do.
I couldn't keep up. I'm writing notes and everything like that too. What's exciting about what you've described to me a little bit is wow, once you turn the corner, and I love this, once you turn the corner and then you figured out what it is you need to do, you went forward, you never looked back.
Never.
A beautiful little birdie once told me that, there's riches in the niches.
I heard
There's
that birdie
riches
say
in
that
the.
too.
You heard that too? You heard
I
that
heard
bird
that
too there,
birdie.
Galen? Um, and what I'm even hearing, because I actually you had me at the real estate piece, you had me at a bunch of different things, but as you've honed in on your main focus, what did that process look for you from taking all of these things that you're so good at, but then honing in on what really was pulling you to really achieve, fulfill your life's mission? What was that process? What did that look like for you? I know,
My
right?
life,
It's a loaded
but
question, right?
it's funny when you say my life mission and honing in.
Yeah.
One of the things, and I left out that like I said, that story that I shared about my fall, there was a
Mhm.
lot to it. But one of the things I said was, I said, God, if you allow me to walk again, I'm going to dedicate the rest of my life to helping young people to have a better life than I had. And so when I think about all this, what we were talking about, I don't have one specific, my boys program, I do that. That's something I just do. I set it up and I do it, and it flows. My CAPS program, my inspection company, my CAPS program, it's there. When people contact me, want to set up things, it flows.
Nice.
When I do my inspections, right now, I was doing, was like I say, I'm a rehab specialist. So what I do is agencies contact me, they have grants, they give homeowners money to help fix up their homes. They contact me as the rehab specialist and project monitor. I go out and I inspect the home, I write up the scope of work, what needs to be done, submit it to the contractors, and then I monitor the work that they're being done, and then make sure it's done the right way. It flows.
Nice.
That contract ended. The next day, as the contract was ending, I get a call from another agency who wants me to do the same thing for commercial. So I just started that on Monday, doing commercial rehab specialists and project monitoring. And so, I mean, everything I do, even with my books, they're out there. But what I do is I use them in my programs. So that flows. Everything I do, my students say to me all the time, my kids say to me, they say, Mr. Price, what do you do? How do you make money? How much money do you have? Because we talk about making money. And one of the things I tell them in the beginning of my program, I said, raise your hand. How many of you guys want to be rich? And of course, they all raise their hand. And then I said, well, how many of you guys want to be wealthy? And they look at me and they said, some might raise their hand, some not, because they don't understand what wealth is. And so I said to them, I said, I don't want any of you in here to be rich. I don't ever want any of you to be rich. I said, because if I ask you how rich are you, you can give me a number. $1 million, 10 million, whatever the number might be. I said, but if I ask you to be wealthy or show you how to be wealthy, that means you have multiple streams of income. I have books, I have inspections, I do seminars, I do workshops. So I never know how much money I have because it's always coming from where? Somewhere else. It's always coming in. And so I show them that. And so I said, my program, I said, think and grow wealth. I tell them, I said, I want you to think about how you can create wealth and take whatever skills you have and use that to create not just what you're doing, but make it where you can make money doing different things, doing what you do.
Wow.
And I show that, like I said, I have 19 books. So that's 19 sources of income. You know what I mean? That's just from that. So that's what I do.
I learned from Dr. Peter. I got to jump in. I got to jump in. And a couple things. Number one, I want to acknowledge all the comments, all the chat. Folks are just really, really enjoying this conversation. And then one more question that we got in from Bossy. She wants to know, where can an individual, an interested party, go to gain the CAPS certification? So I don't know if that's another stream of income for you.
National, actually, actually, it's funny you said that. It's the National Association of Home Builders is where I took the training. My instructor, 74 years old. 74 years old. And she said to me, she said, Willie, why are you taking this training? And I said, well, I'm working, monitoring these houses, and I'm finding that a lot of the homes that we're working on were occupied by seniors, and they weren't putting in grab bar. They weren't putting in the things that really needed to be done for the staying home, the aging at home. She said, really? And she said, and what do you do? And I told her what I did. And she said, and I'm a rehab specialist, da, da, da. She said, you're going to have 73 million clients waiting on you. And I said, what do you mean? She said, by the year 2030, 73 million people will need that service. And you're the only person as a rehab specialist doing it. Most of the people who take that course are people who are doing like OT, occupational therapists, working in hospitals. And when the people go home from the hospital, they go in and help them to set up the home in order for them to stay in the home, as far as that. But as far as a rehab specialist, like what I do, there's nobody doing what I do because nobody's ever heard of CAPS.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. And
Well,
so it's the National Association of Home Builders. And the reason why I brought that up is because they actually asked me to teach the course. Because I said my instructor was 74 years old. And she was like, we need people young like you to teach the course. I'm 74 years old. I'm not going to be here much longer to be teaching this. So they've asked me to do that. As you can see, all the things I do, I don't have time, but that's why instead of doing the inspections, which is what I could do, I'm doing the awareness. So they sent me a PowerPoint that I can go out and do awareness in the community. So we're working on doing awareness, bringing awareness to people. So I'm working with the NAACP here in Western New York, AARP, different senior programs, the Buffalo Urban League. I'm working with different organizations because, again, none of these people have never heard of CAPS. And when I tell them what it is, the first thing people think, they think of somebody, a parent or a relative who fell in the bathroom and couldn't get up. You know what I mean? They started to think, oh, yeah, my aunt really needed that service,
Yeah.
So bringing that awareness and, again, a specialized skill and ability.
So I gotta bring in Ms. Ann because first of all, you gotta love what another one of your devotees, one of your students, is doing with the introduction to the book that you gave. Talk a little bit, Ms. Ann, about first of all your thoughts about everything that Willie's doing, and how do people take advantage of this annual meeting so that they can get as committed to this success philosophy activating in their life as Willie.
What more can I add? What more can I add to Willie's comments and stories? I was a part of a lot of what he's sharing because we were in the mastermind together. I mean, when he broke the leg, we remember when he got many of the certifications, we were there. When he wrote many of those books, he was there. And what I really want to do is, I really want to encourage all of you who are listening, go to the International Masterminders with an S.com and register for our annual meeting. And Willie, we talked with him before the podcast started, and he's considering coming. And I had a conversation yesterday with one of my consultants that I paid lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of money to every month. And he's coming. So for those of you that's listening, and you are familiar with Speaker Flow, you write that down, Google the firm. They are helping many speaker businesses flow and increasing their bottom line. But I helped the founder with his mindset that will drop millions to the bottom line of their business, and had a meeting with him yesterday. And he said, Ann, my wife and we're coming to the annual meeting. Whatever you say I need to do, that's what I'm doing. And Willie Price is another example of that. You can put that JPEG back up because I really want to make sure that we take just a moment and know the details. The annual meeting is going to take place, in Boca Raton. We're actually looking at changing the venue because registration is limited. We're elevating the brand and we're elevating the location. So if you have not registered, I will be the first to tell you. Beatrice Lewis Saint and her team has taken over the planning for this event, and her goal is to have 300 people. The capacity is less than half of that. And so if you don't get your ticket early, not only will the price and investment double, but you will not be able to get a seat because there will be no space. And she wanted me as of yesterday, that's where I am now, why I'm at the JW Marriott. She wanted me today to start making sure that all of you that have ever come before register early, because she don't want you mad with her, and she definitely don't want you upset with me when you cannot get in. Okay, I'm gonna say that again. Her goal is 300, and if you've ever been there, you know we were teetering at 100. The capacity is not 300, okay? And so registration is going to go quickly, and we're talking to everybody, Lottie Dottie, as Les Brown says, and everybody about this event. And the date is January the 3rd, excuse me, stay co-host, 3rd and 4th, 2025. And again, we'll put the information, excuse me, on all the social media, and we will continue to share it. But you're going to see a major marketing blitz starting as of May, which is next week. So please register early.
How can people register if like me, they're feeling nervous about hearing that seats, there might not be a seat? How can people register?
No, I'm very serious because again, you know Speaker Flow. And Austin from Speaker Flow shared with me yesterday, because of the benefit and value that I've added to him and his business and his partner, he's saying to me, look, and anything you're doing that you say I need to come, I'm coming. And I'm saying that to everybody at that level, because Jimmy, as you know, Jimmy from NSA, who's over our membership, he's taking my survey. And I made a commitment. Hold on a second. I got to keep my commitment to myself. Hold on. My commitment was to continue to promote. Willie talking about he wrote 19 books. I didn't write 19, but I wrote one that's the best-selling one for me, and that is called How to Start and Run a Successful Mastermind Group. And on page 161 of the workbook is our survey. And so when you take that survey, and I walked through just one area of the survey with Austin, changed his life. And like I said, dropped millions to the bottom line of his business. But I can't say it enough, because again, we've moved in the location from the Embassy Suites. We're going to a Marriott. So please, I cannot say it enough. Go to the internationalmasterminders.com and register. We're going to put the link in the chat on YouTube and every place else. And so going to your question, Galen, I'm just going to send you some love if you show up, and we cannot let you in. So you have to, you have to wait till people leave early, because again, as all of you know, and Willie is a testament to this, I have been playing very small, very, very, very small. I have 6 books published. I never speak about any of them because I'm always attempting to help other people. But I am convicted by you know who. Yes, my Savior, Jesus Christ. Yes, I'm convicted because it's not about me. It is the same thing if you had an incurable disease and someone had the cure for that disease. Wouldn't you get upset with that person if they didn't share the cure? That's what I'm dealing with right now. So y'all pray for me also. But we have something that has been elevating people's lives. All of you who are listening to me, you know, you got the formula and you got it from more. I'm working on myself and elevating my voice, right? You can hear it elevate right now. But anyway, go to internationalmasterminders.com, but please don't hesitate to register, because we don't want to I don't want to be the bearer of bad news and say, I'm sorry. But anyway, let's go on with the closing of the podcast, because Willie has given us great value. Yes.
Is that Marriott going to be in Boca Raton also? That's in Boca Raton as well?
No. I'm sorry. Yes, the Marriott is going to be in Boca. Yes.
Okay.
Beautiful Marriott in Boca. Thank you.
Okay.
Wow. So you guys have heard it, that if you don't register today, if you don't get in, Miss Ann will pray for you in the lobby. That's about all she's gonna. She'll pray for you in the lobby.
I'm gonna try to make it this year.
We'll talk offline. I don't do the try thing, so we'll talk about that.
Well, we are right on top of time. Oh my gosh. Time does truly fly when you are having fun. I want to go around very quickly and just get some ahas from everyone. What were the key things that jumped out at you in today's conversation, and how can people get a hold of you? Dr. Peter, I'll start with you. Your good alpha brother there was kicking some gems, man. He was kicking some heat.
Of
What are your
course.
thoughts, and how can people get a hold of you?
That's because he's seen the light there, Galen.
That's it.
Because he's seen the light. Yes. But of course, what I love about this conversation with Willie there is that and I really actually jotted down some notes about how he was able to take skills that he was great at and automate them. I wonder how folks who are listening, who may be skillful in multiple areas, but you're only one person. Who's on your team, or how might you be able to use the resources around you to include people, but also to include technology to automate your skill set, whether it's the books, whether it's the contracting or the inspections, or whether it's even with the kids, what might that need to look like for you in order to exercise that think in order to grow rich. So that's what kind of just jumped out and slapped me in the face a few times there for sure, Galen. Hey folks, my name is Dr. Peter A. James. I am the high performance coach helping you to shift your mindset. You can find me specifically on LinkedIn at Dr. Peter A. James. That's at DrPeterAJames, or my favorite place is at shiftyourmindset.com. Galen, another phenomenal show. We got to get Willie back because he had so much stuff. I don't know if we had enough time to go a little bit deeper.
I think we barely scratched the surface. And if we invite him back by then, he'll probably have 2 or 3 more lines of revenue. So, Miss Ann, what are your thoughts? What were your key ahas, and how can people get a hold of you if they want to get more of the inspiration that has inspired people like Willie?
Grandma said, and I put it in the chat what his grandma said. I mean, you can do anything, and you really can, because you can learn any skill. Mm-hmm. But it's only important, and this is what what I'm getting from you, Willie, it's only important if you have a desire. You see, you only pulled on what she said when you had a desire and an obstacle that you could not overcome in the moment. Grandma said. So that helped me, bless me. For those of you who have a desire and you're looking for a process, you can text 59925 and put Ann in the chat, and I will send you my McNeil Factor 6-point business plan. Back to you, Galen.
Wow, another fantastic show. Thank you so much. Willie, what are some key things you'd like to leave the audience with, and how can folks get a hold of you?
First of all, I would like to thank you guys for inviting me. And yes, I would love to come back. Anytime you want, let me know. I would love to come back. I really enjoyed this. I was looking forward to it all day. One of the things I say to my young people, and I'm going to say to the audience, trust and believe. Trust and believe in your you, that you can do anything you set your mind to do. And when you do that, it doesn't matter what other people think, because when you trust and believe in you and who you are, no dream is impossible. And you'll find that it's just going to work itself out. So that's what I would like to close out on. If you would like to reach out to me, I'm on all the social media. Willie A. Price Speaks is what I go by. If you go to my website, it's Willie A. Price Speak, not Speaks, the S is off. It's WillieAPriceSpeak.com. That's my website there that they're showing. But I'm on all the social media, Facebook. So just, reach out to me. Like I said, the From Boys to Men conference will be kicking off in September. We're trying to set up schools now to start doing that. But I will still be doing my programs. Right now we have 3 programs we're finishing up this month in Buffalo and in Niagara Falls. But just doing what I do. I love what I do. And so that's, and then, like I said, God has blessed me. I made a promise to God, and that's what I'm doing, is keeping my promise. And he's been blessing me and allowing me to be able to continue to do the things I do without worrying about bills or, anything. I don't worry about any of that stuff. I just do what I do because I know I'm
Love
going to
it.
be covered.
Love it, love it. If you want to be in a position where you don't have to worry about bills, then Willie A. Price has shared with you that there might be something in this Think and Grow Rich philosophy that will help you get to that position as well. My name is Galen Bingham. I am the leadership strategist. I would encourage you to check out the website. Go to either galenbingham.com or killglobalcoaching.com, and you'll get access to the podcast. You'll get access to free downloads. I got tons of free downloads there. But if you are in an organization or you are just at a point in your life where you want to figure out how do you bake success into your working life, I double dog dare you to contact me, reach out to me, and see if there's a way where I can help you take at least one or two steps in the right direction. This has been another incredible show. I've just really enjoyed getting to hear and hear about your story, Willie. It's been absolutely amazing, and you have definitely brought to life the principle of specialized knowledge. And I'm gonna end this the way I started. I can't think of anything more specialized than being the only person on the planet that can do what you do. So I encourage you to join us each Saturday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time as we talk about the book Think and Grow Rich, doing a deep dive in one of Napoleon Hill's principles. Until next time, I hope that you will think and grow rich in your area of specialty. Take care.